Game on.
Hey, it's Unqualified Critics, and of course, I watch Glen's Retro Show.
Hi everybody, thank you for joining me on today's edition of Glen's Retro Show. This was originally supposed to be one single video with my Dreamcast I got off of eBay. It was going to be RetroBrighting the unit and installing a SD card by taking out the gig ROM and replacing it with an SD card. But I'm still 3D printing some stuff I needed for the SD card. I had something printed already, but it turned out to be the wrong size. And I did the RetroBrighting today, and it went so much better than expected. I wanted to talk about that first. So in today's episode, we're going to do some RetroBrighting on the Dreamcast, and in part 2, we'll do the part about the SD card. So let's get into basically what I'm doing right here. So I got a Dreamcast off of eBay, and most of it was supposed to be working anyway. Haven't really tested that part out, to be honest. But the unit was in pretty good shape. The only thing that was really discolored was the top door, the lid that pops up that you put your CDs in. It obviously needed some RetroBrighting. The rest of the unit seemed fine. Now, I've seen videos for a long time. I do watch the 8-Bit guy, and he goes through all different kinds of RetroBrighting. And, I'm kind of not lazy, but I hate spending more money than I need to on something because I'd rather spend it on items and materials. So I found another video, a guy saying he really was just using, some OxyClean and some hydrogen peroxide. But when you read the ingredients, the OxyClean is basically hydrogen peroxide not liquefied yet. When you put it in with water, it kind of makes it into a hydrogen peroxide, or of sorts. So I went to the dollar store, and cheap guy that I am, and I picked up this some Power Oxygen, which is obviously an OxyClean brand, but has the same basic ingredients in here as OxyClean. So I figured I would just take some warm water, put this in with the water, and give it a couple hours outside and see what it does. Well, let's get to see the beforehand, the during, and let's see what happens at the end. And this cost me 99 cents, so I spent 99 cents for this, and I got an aluminum lasagna pan for 99 cents, so I spent $2, plus just water and some of my time. Did it have any good results? Was it a waste of my time? Do I need to spend 100 bucks or 80 bucks or 60 bucks on buying special Salon hydrogen peroxide? Well, that's what this video is here to find out. Hopefully the 8-Bit guy is watching. Hopefully. In any case, let's see how this stuff worked.
Okay everyone, first a little disclosure. I'm actually sitting outside. It's a beautiful day out here, and I'm always in the house, so I wanted to record outside and get some fresh air. I'm here with Blue, and since I was doing a RetroBright, I figured that's the best place I should be doing it. So if you hear any weird birds or kids playing or screaming, you'll know why. So I do apologize for that, but you know what? I need some air. So here is the Dreamcast I got off eBay. I spent $50 for this. It says it's working. I haven't actually fired it up yet. I don't even know, but here is the unit itself. You can see, there's some marks on it. These type of marks will come off with, magic eraser and just washing it with regular Dawn soap and a sponge. But you can see here the color of the console and the color of the lid is probably the biggest discrepancy. This is more to the color of the Dreamcast, where this is obviously a little bit darker. Need some RetroBrighting on it. Let's go and just see here the next frame. So you can see this is what the Dreamcast should look like on the inside here. Still got some dirt inside here. So the outside is not horrible, but I really felt that if I can RetroBright just the lid, I didn't have to RetroBright everything here. And since it was my first time doing it, I wanted to start small. I could always come back and do it again. The one thing, again, I'll say, the Dreamcast is a phenomenal console. Even taking it apart and working on it, Sega did such a phenomenal job compared to, say, the Genesis or the Sega Saturn. This thing is so modular, so easy to work on. It is such a pleasure. I am so sad that the Dreamcast is not around today. And I will say it again, 21 years later, this console can still hold up against the competition. The graphics are good, the sound's good, the gameplays are great, and the console is just a phenomenal little console. So you can see there's a little dirt inside here. Most of the stuff will come out with just a wash. You have to obviously take all the electronics out and just Dawn soap and a sponge and a little time, and this thing will clean up really, really nice. Again, like this here, these are like the little felt VCD. Couldn't get them off, and actually we'll find out if they get ruined in the wash, and I'm hoping that they will not. And here's the lid. It's obviously a little bit darker. It's just lots of little scratches on here. Novus number 2 and number 1 would definitely take care of these little scratches. These other marks here are stuff that should come out with just a regular wash with a sponge and Dawn or a magic eraser. I will say magic erasers are great, but they are very, very fine sandpaper, so don't go overly much on them. If it doesn't come off, try using some WD-40 first before you start really going crazy with a magic eraser. Although, again, I've had great success with the magic eraser. So this is it. So, you know, I watch and I love the 8-Bit guy. I've been watching him for a long time, and I guess a lot of other people too. He's got over 1 million subscribers, and the guy does great videos. You know, he's got great camera equipment, great lighting. Of course, Glen's Retro Show is a little more on the simpleton side of all that stuff, but I still try and do the best I can. So, you know, he did a lot of videos talking about RetroBrighting using all different kinds of chemicals, using, you know, 40% hydrogen peroxide you get out of Salon, using other types of chemicals people told him about, using ozone generators, heat, without heat. He went through a gambit of stuff. He's a great guy and did a fantastic job. Me, I didn't want to go through all that expense. I wanted to try RetroBrighting, but I didn't want to go and try to get really expensive, very harsh chemicals like the stuff that they use for the 40%, you know, hair bleaching. It's expensive. Got to be careful with it. Get on your hands and your eyes, you know. And you know, I didn't want to go down that route. So I decided to try just like OxyClean, right? But OxyClean is also not the cheapest stuff. So I went to the dollar store. They have this stuff right here, and it was 99 cents. And I checked the chemicals in it, and it's very similar to what's in OxyClean. Now, just so you guys know, hydrogen peroxide is obviously hydrogen peroxide, but OxyClean kind of works, and it's kind of the same thing without the water in it already. So it basically turns itself into a hydrogen peroxide type of mix when you put it in semi-warm to warm hot water. So that's why I decided I was going to try first. If it didn't work, hopefully it doesn't ruin anything and I could try something else. But I thought I want to try really simple. And again, this was only 99 cents I bought at the dollar store. So it was maybe at $1.03, $1.04 by the time I paid taxes and got out the door. But it's still a lot less than you just pay 50 or 60 or 70 bucks getting, you know, the professional grade hydrogen peroxide, stuff used to bleach hair, and all these other chemicals and things that he did on the 8-Bit Guy's show, ozone generators. I think I'd give this one a try. So here it is right here. See, I did have hydrogen peroxide and the other stuff here. And when I read the ingredients, you know, that's obviously hydrogen peroxide is pretty much just that. But when you read the ingredients, when you put water, this basically is a very similar chemical compound that you get with hydrogen peroxide. It basically turns into it. So I decided just to go with the water and here. But if it didn't work at all, I was going to try hydrogen peroxide next and see what that did. But for this case right here, you can see the color of the case, and you can see the lid is definitely browned a little bit. It's not horrible, you know, but it's definitely noticeable when you look at the two together. There's a definite notice. You can see that there's a different color on it. Now, I did wash this by hand, so you can see all the marks with the magic eraser and Dawn and a sponge. Took off all the marks off the case, so I was very happy with that. It's all nice and clean, so it's ready for, you know, trying to RetroBright it. And you want to make sure it is clean before you do that. Any particles that are on here will obviously not let the RetroBrighting compound touch the plastic, and you would get blotches, so we don't want that. So here's a pan, a lasagna pan, and the lid did fit in it. So basically, I'm also going to do right now is pour in, not like tea kettle hot water, just sink hot water. That's it. I just made sure there was enough water to cover everything. Then I put in 2 scoops of the OxyClean clone. Didn't mix it at all, just poured it in and brought it outside. That's all I really did. So here it is. So I put it outside in the sun. It was 8 o'clock in the morning, and I poured in sink hot water, 2 scoops of the OxyClean clone, and just covered it with the saran wrap, because 8-Bit Guy believes that maybe the heat is part of what makes the reaction happen, or the gases that are given off by the chemical reactions helps whiten it as well. Because he did one video where he never put the item in the water. He put a little peg up. He put the keycap over the liquid and just sat it in the sun, and it did whiten it. So he believes it may not be the actual physical contact of the water, just the gases that are given off on it. But I did submerge it because, again, my first time. I'm going to give it a try. It's not like with my pristine Dreamcast. It was a guy off eBay that I'm assuming works. Haven't even tested it. It may not even work. But I figured I'd give this a try. So it is 8 o'clock in the morning. The sun was beautiful, and it is covered here right now. So Blue is here standing guard for me. Again, warm hot water, a couple scoops of the OxyClean just sitting here. It's been maybe 10 minutes so far. But Blue is going to sit here and watch it for me. Okay, it came out after about an hour, and I assume there's reactions that are going on in here right now. I didn't even check it. I don't know how soon the change would happen, because I didn't want to open it because I wanted to sit for a while before I took a look inside. So after about an hour and a half, here's Blue. He got tired. He sat down, but the item is still sitting here, so it's around 9:30, 9:45 by the time I came out here. I came back out at 10:30, and the sun's obviously coming up a lot more, and you can see there's a lot of condensation in here. The reactions are happening. There were bubbles here from the water being, evaporated. So you can see the Dreamcast logo in here. Now, I was always worried about this getting ruined, and you don't want to put decals in water, let alone hydrogen peroxide or other things, or bleach. But it was a plastic-coated decal, not just a paper decal. So I was kind of hoping it would survive, but I guess we'll find out a little bit later.
Okay, so I put this out here. It's been out for about 4 hours in the sun. Again, this was really ended up being just the dollar store OxyClean equivalent, so it's $1 for a big bucket, 2 scoops of it, and really just lukewarm water, not hot water. But I did wrap it and keep it in the sun. And let's take a look. So let's go in here. You know what? I think that's done. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna rinse this off, and I'm gonna take a look at it next to the actual console. But that looks really good. And this literally cost $1 in materials. OxyClean clone stuff. So let me rinse this off, and we'll take a look at it in a minute.
Okay, so I've come back inside, and you can see the Dreamcast logo survived just fine. There's not one problem with this logo at all. The decal survived just fine, and you can see it is much, much brighter. Here's the Dreamcast console, which I did not RetroBright, but you can see the lid here compared to what it used to look like. It's a huge difference, and it's only 4 hours. This is from starting at 8 o'clock in the morning till noon, and this is how bright this thing became. I am really impressed how nice this came out. Here it is. It's just sitting in the machine. I haven't put it back together yet. Just laid it on top. But you can see the color here is very, very close. Now, at the bottom probably could use some RetroBrighting, but compared to before, if you really didn't know and just looked at it really quick glances, you would never know that this is not the original color of this whole thing. I mean, it looks almost brand new. There's a little nick on the plastic here. I'm going to find some way to fill that in and try and fix that up. But the console looks really, really good, aside from, again, one of my hairs that fell out because I'm an old man and I'm so shocked this thing worked. It shocked the hair out of my head. But this whole thing looks really, really good. Here's another shot, lit out focus. But again, just another camera angle. Just wanted you to see that the color here is so much better than before. I mean, this was a brown. Again, it wasn't horribly brown, but you compare it to from before to now, this thing looks really, really good. I am really shocked. I didn't spend 50, 60 bucks on chemicals. I didn't spend hundreds of dollars on an oxidation machine. I literally just took some tap water that was hot, put in 2 scoops of 99-cent OxyClean clone chemicals, and put it in here, and it worked really well. I mean, it really did. Here's another shot, a little bit closer. Again, there's my old man hair. Sorry about that. But this thing looks really, really good. I am really in awe. Again, this was supposed to be part of a different video that I was doing, but it came out so well. I had to share it right now because I am just in complete shock on how well this thing turned out. Again, just another angle. I wanted you guys to see it from as many different lighting positions as I could do it. Now, this is back in the original area. Obviously, it's 4 hours later, so the daylight still changed. That's where I took the picture of the Dreamcast. And this thing looks really, really good. The decal, everything here looks really, really good. Now, here's a little more lighting. The sun came out from the clouds. So again, you can see from a different lighting perspective how well this came out. I mean, I am really shocked that something so inexpensive and easy to do made such a huge impact. So I will definitely be doing more RetroBrighting in the future with other things, but I just cannot believe that people spend $50 or $60 on harsh chemicals when they can go to a dollar store and pick up some OxyClean clone chemicals, put it in regular tap water that's just hot, and get this kind of results. And just again, another shot for different lighting perspectives. This thing looks really, really good. Man, the bottom could probably use some RetroBrighting, but overall, again, just looking at it quickly, you can tell these are not the same. The one thing I probably still will do to this is put some Novus number 2 and number 1 just to polish it up. But again, even right now, this thing looks great. And there's the closest shot I was able to get. This definitely looks a little bit whiter than down here, but again, not as noticeable as before. And this bottom was not RetroBrighted at all. So I think if I was to do it again, I would put all these in a larger container, a larger thing of hot water, more scoops of the OxyClean to match it up. But to be quite honest, it'll be years before I do it because I think this thing looks really good as it is.
We had a nice sunny day today. It was about 80 degrees outside. I put basically a tin foil outside with warm water and some of this basically dollar store OxyClean equivalent. It's not even OxyClean, it's just one that has the same type of stuff in it. It was 99 cents. And I have to say, after 3 hours, I am shocked. I'm impressed. I cannot believe that people spend $60, $70 on salon, special paste stuff to do this. I spent 99 cents. And this is the result. The thing looks absolutely, I think, fantastic. The bottom really didn't need the RetroBrighting, was the lid. So I have a before and after shot here. So you can see what it is right now. It actually matches the case. Again, it depends on the lighting in the room. I could tell you that, me looking at it, I'm stumbling over my own words. It's impressive that 99 cents, 3 hours, and a little bit of your time, and I don't understand why people spend all this money on this other type of RetroBrighting. The label wasn't affected in any way, shape, or form. I can't say for other types of labels that are paper, but this is not a paper label, it's like a plasticky label. But this thing looks brand new. I still cannot believe how well this stuff worked. And literally, it was the dollar store, it was 99 cents. You may not find this exact brand at your dollar store, but as long as it's an OxyClean equivalent, and I'll put down in the description there the chemicals that are in here. But again, I really cannot believe how well that came out. So for people doing the other kind of RetroBrighting, you might want to just try this. I mean, maybe there's reasons people want to paste it on or do the other ways. This is my first time doing it on something, but I spent 99 cents on the chemicals for this, warm water, and a couple hours of my time. And this thing RetroBrighted phenomenally. So the next video will go into the SD card install. I just thought this now requires its own video because it really did a great job. And hopefully other people will try this out, like the 8-bit guy. You know, he's been doing all these different kinds of RetroBrighting. I don't know if he's just tried using just OxyClean and nothing else. But if anyone knows the 8-bit guy, have him try just OxyClean, warm water, and some sunlight. I'm just really impressed. So I want to thank you all for watching this episode of Glen's Retro Show. And if you want to try RetroBrighting, I can't recommend this more than enough. I'm still shocked. 99 cents. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. And remember, no matter what you do or how you RetroBright it, game on.
Glen at the Tiny Arcade fan page. Remember, don't admire people too much. They'll disappoint you.
Sit, Blue Blue, sit. Good dog.